Hi, boys and girls. We are going to do our Bible story now. So I'm going to start with part of it, and we're just going to have a couple different videos to get through the whole thing, okay? So this week we are talking about Jesus and the Passover and how he did the upper room, or he did the Passover in the upper room. So our story is in, actually, it's kind of in all of the Gospels, but the one that we're going to look at is John. So that, and our song is, we're going to do our song we always do, and that's our New Testament song. So it's Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, and that's where we're going to be, is in John. So I'm going to tell you the story. First of all, we have to back up. This part is so cool. It's one of my favorite stories ever, and it is about Mary, Martha, and Lazarus. Do you remember Mary and Martha? When the one where Mary wouldn't stop working, and Martha wouldn't stop working, and Mary was sitting at Jesus' feet? These are the same friends. So Jesus was not in Bethany where they lived. He was somewhere else. And someone came to him and said, "Hey, Jesus, Lazarus is really sick. You gotta come help." And here is Mary and Martha. You can see that's Mary trying to take care of her brother Lazarus, but he was really sick. Jesus said, "Okay, we'll go." But he waited, and he didn't go right away. He waited a couple of days. And then when he finally got there, look what happened when he got there. Oh no. This is a yucky picture, isn't it? But Lazarus died. It was so sad. So by the time Jesus got there, Mary ran to him and she was like, "Oh, Jesus." And she was so upset and she was crying and it was awful. And then she went and got Martha, and Martha came, and they both went out to Jesus and they both said, "Jesus, if you would have been here, he wouldn't have died." And they were so sad. In fact, boys and girls, back then, they would actually hire professional people that would, like, all they would do is cry. And here's what they would do. And so Jesus got there and this is what he heard. And people were crying and screaming and it was just awful. And so Jesus said, "Take me to where Lazarus is." So here he is. He is in this tomb. This is what it kind of would look like. And Jesus cried. He was so sad. He loved Lazarus. But guess what? He was going to do one of the most amazing miracles he ever did. So he sat there and he said, "Roll the stone away." Martha was like, "Jesus, that might not be a good idea. Maybe we shouldn't do that." Jesus said, "Trust me, open the door." So they opened the stone away from the tomb, and Jesus prayed. And then he said, "Thank you, God, for this is what you're going to help me do." Those are my own words, boys and girls, but that's kind of the gist of what he said. And then he said, "Lazarus, come out." What do you think he did? And out comes Lazarus. Now, boys and girls, in the Bible, it actually says that his head was wrapped too. This picture isn't quite right. But he came out and Jesus said, "Unwrap him, get him something to eat." And Lazarus was alive. Now, boys and girls, we've talked a lot about how some people didn't like Jesus because he would tell them about their sin and they didn't want to know about their sin. And so when Lazarus was raised from the dead, there was a big crowd of people there. So a lot of the people were like, "Wow, he's really God." Because you and I, we can't raise somebody from the dead, right? That's like, only God can do that. So they all believed in Jesus and they trusted him. But other people, they ran back to Jerusalem and they told all those high priests, and they said, "Jesus raised somebody from the dead." And boys and girls, instead of believing in Jesus, they thought, we've got to get rid of him. We got to get rid of Jesus and we got to get rid of Lazarus too. And that's the start of our story for this week.